All right, but at least they're in. Another team from Florida
Whoa.
that we thought was going to be a no-brainer. Steve Kornacki pointed out last night that at one point not that long ago, the Jaguars had a 96% chance of making it. It was a great point from Steve. Last year at the same time of the season, they had a 3% chance of making it, and they made it. This year with the 96% chance of making it,
Incredible.
They didn't make it. They fell apart. It started with that game against the Bengals, that upset that went to overtime, that had a questionable holding call
Jake
in overtime,
Browning,
that wiped out a
game
43-yard
plan,
gain to Calvin Ridley. But regardless, they could never get out of it. Yes, they beat the Panthers last week. Who hasn't? Last night, well, yesterday afternoon, the Titans hosting the Jaguars. All the Jaguars got to do is win, and they win the division. The Titans playing for nothing other than pride, and they had plenty of it. They stuck it to the Jaguars. We were talking about that earlier. It just looked all game long like they were just waiting for the chance to blow it, and they ultimately blew it. They fell behind. They kept trying to come back. They just couldn't. The Titans held them off, and now the Jaguars completely fall out of the playoffs altogether. Unbelievable. That would have been, to me, when I looked at the various divisions going into the season, the Jaguars were the one team that I thought was most likely to win their division, period, end of statement, mainly because we didn't expect the Colts or the Texans to be anything, and they both ended up being great.
Yeah.
And that's it. Jaguars done. Tough pill to swallow if you're a Jaguars fan because you came into the season thinking we're going to be right back where we were last year.
I mean, all that young talent, the quarterback headed in the right direction. You thought, wait, they got guys on the defensive side of the ball that's all arrow up. It's all going to come together. The Jaguars clearly are the best team in the AFC South. Just really fell apart towards the end of the season. I mean, that's all you can really say to it. I do think it's, there's a few issues. I think they really start up front for the Jaguars on both sides of the ball, but I think you kind of said it right. I mean, they go down and get a field goal to start the game, but it was a lot of work. Tennessee gets the ball and goes right down the field. And you went, woo, Tennessee is certainly motivated and running around and looks like they're playing a physical brand of football. They're not like sipping pina coladas going, I can't wait this to be over. I got somewhere to go tomorrow to get on a flight because the season's over. They brought it to Jacksonville and brought it with the physicality and running the football. And then Ryan Tannehill made a few throws here or there. And then, every time you kind of felt like, hey, maybe the Jaguars will muster something, they kind of shot themselves in the foot, right? I mean, Lawrence has 2 interceptions. One was not his fault. He's throwing the ball to Evan Ingram over the middle, and he juggles it and knocks it up in the air. Interception, short field for the Tennessee Titans. They get some points here. You'll see it here. Here it's 3rd and 4. It's 14-10. Boom. Evan Ingram drops the ball, pops in the air. Tennessee Titans get it. And if I remember correctly here, I think they got lucky there because the Tennessee Titans turned the ball, the Tennessee Titans scored to go up 21-10 there. And then here's the other interception, and we saw this a little from Trevor yesterday. He missed some throws high and just off target. Let's not forget, if any quarterback in football has been beat up this year, it's Trevor Lawrence. Let alone he hasn't practiced the last 2 weeks. And they don't have a run game in Jacksonville. That's a problem. It's too much on Trevor Lawrence this year. I think that we dissect their problems. It's didn't run the ball well this year. We're one of the poorer teams in football doing that. One of the poorer teams protecting the ball. And then pass rush, we talked about all year. They couldn't get after the quarterback with their front four. Those are the biggest problems with Jacksonville.
Other than Josh Allen,
yes,
who was the best thing they had this year.
They're the only guy, right? That's what's amazing about it. They had one of the NFL sack leaders, but their team was towards the bottom of football in sacks. That just tells you there was a lack of production there across the board. But either way, good job by the Titans. Derrick Henry goes out a winner. Ryan Tannehill had a great little run with the Tennessee Titans. He goes out a winner. And, I'm excited for this Titans future and what Vrabel builds there.
With the Jaguars, the offensive line hits they took after the year.
Definitely.
The offensive line wasn't good enough. Anytime you're not running the ball, it's not because of the running backs. They have a first-rounder in Travis Etienne.
Yeah.
You're not opening holes in the running game,
right.
And that makes it harder to pass because you become one-dimensional. Or
exactly.
they can keep the safeties back because they know the front seven's going to tackle the run.
Don't be over-aggressive. They're going to try to throw the ball behind you here. Let's not bite it. Their run game's not that good, right? Yes, exactly right. And I think that's just kind of one thing kind of snowballed into another. And they couldn't right the ship. They got their butts whooped by the 49ers. That was our first warning sign.
Well, and we thought we learned from that. We thought they got a glimpse of what they need to be when they try to go be an elite team, and it worked for a couple of weeks, and then the wheels came off. They were 8-3 in early December. They lost 5 of their last 6 games. They have one double-digit winning season in the last 16 years, and the quarterback of that team was your guy, Blake Bortles.
Wow.
The one time they had 10 or more wins. 2017. That was the year they almost made the Super Bowl.
Yeah, team.
You're right.
Right? It's just, everybody's got to stop looking for Mahomes and Allen. That's not going to happen. Lamar Jackson, they don't grow on trees, right? Build a team.
And even with them, you have to have the team.
You got to have it. You got to. But I think right now, listen, like Allen, Mahomes, there's like 12 of them in the history of football. Like, you're not going to get one. Like, get over it. You got to build the football team around it. And we see some teams here in the playoffs that have done that. And it's not all about the quarterback. But, yeah, they got to have – Trevor Lawrence has big-time talent. Did he have his best year? No. Was he beat up to death? Yes, he was. He was hit about as much as any quarterback in football. Christian Kirk got hurt. That hurt them on the offensive side of the ball, especially when we knew they had to throw the ball to win games. They were a beat-up football team down the stretch. But, yeah, that was just underwhelming. And I think it's just the look of it, the look of yesterday and how they were outplayed and really, kind of just like never got a last gasp effort where you really felt like they were outplaying the Tennessee Titans. The Titans hung in there and kind of just kept the pressure on them throughout.
That's the kind of game, and it's great having a former head coach in the viewing room when we have these kind of casual conversations about coaches maybe getting fired, because I see that eyebrow go up because he wants to be involved in the conversation.
He's like, wait, were they saying that about me when I lost the game in week 17?
Exactly. Yes, Jason, yes, we were. But his point is, well, they were a dysfunctional mess 2 years ago, and look at what Doug Peterson inherited.
Yeah.
But when you have high expectations and you fail that badly, that's the kind of thing that gets ownership to start thinking, what else is out there?
Right.
What can I do? What's missing? And when you consider, we've never mentioned this on the program, they had that employee who embezzled like $22 million.
Right.
Like, when you allow something like that to happen, when whatever processes and procedures you have in place would allow someone to steal $22 million from you, that is a sign that something's not right in that business.
True.
And it pops up in all sorts of other ways, like a team that should be maybe even the number 1 seed in the AFC completely bottoming out in 2023. And how is ownership going to deal with it? Dysfunctional teams do dysfunctional things. Would they fire Doug Peterson? Would they think we're going to cast in our lot for Bill Belichick? Is Bill Belichick what we need here? We've got the roster. I've been saying, and we're going to talk about Belichick coming up, keep an eye on the playoff teams. Somebody who loses may say, all we need is Belichick when we go over the top. Shad Khan may be thinking of that today.
Yeah.
All we need is Belichick. I tried it with Urban Meyer, and that was a disaster. And this Doug Peterson thing, it gave me kind of an illusion of what we could be. Belichick gives us what we could be. Who knows? But I'm just saying, games like yesterday get people fired because the Jaguars should have won that game. The Jaguars should be in the playoffs, and it's embarrassing to Shad Khan and the rest of the organization. And you never know how they're going to deal with that. Are they going to say, well, it's okay, we're going to stay the course?
That's right.
Which is smart in most cases. Continuity and stability is the key. But again, dysfunctional teams do dysfunctional things. And after yesterday, I'm at least keeping an eye on what happens in Jacksonville in the coming days.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying. The league's crazy, right? And of course, the way it ended with a team that we all had pretty high expectations for, and I don't think they were unrealistic. When you lose 5 out of the last 6 games, right, and some of those games looked like ugly, right? I think, that's a little concerning, no doubt about it. But I wouldn't panic if I'm Jacksonville. They're still on the right track. They're doing a lot of things. The fact that they lost Jawan Taylor in free agency, they lost Cam Robinson with the injury. He's a really damn good left tackle. I do think hurt their football team. The Christian Kirk injury we talked about. They got to go back to the drawing board. They got to make some adjustments on the fronts on both sides of the ball. We'll see where it goes. I know you talk about Peterson. I'm almost intrigued with Mike Vrabel. I don't know why. I just feel like somebody might make a play for Mike Vrabel.
I think the Patriots are going to try to hire him.
All right.
I think look, July 4th, somebody I have known for years emailed me out of the blue 3 weeks before training camp even opened.
Right.
Hey, happy 4th of July. By the way, look for Mike Vrabel to be the next Patriots head coach.
There you go. So that's what I would look for. Vrabel, I think, is one of the best coaches in football. I think we both agree on that. He manages games perfectly. He has so many games where his team's not the more talented team on the field and they win the game. That's because of coaching. 2 years ago, they were the #1 seed in the AFC. I know they lost to the Bengals the divisional round, but they weren't really a #1 seed talent type of team, and they were still #1 seed. They went to an AFC championship in a year where they weren't an AFC championship type of team, but he's an AFC championship type of coach. Yeah, I'm be interested there to see what he does. He does have, some things to play with in Tennessee as far as they got a lot of money, they got their young quarterback set up, but they also need a lot of players and got a lot of work in front of them there. Be interested to see what happens with Vrabel here.
Here's the thing. If he truly doesn't want to be there anymore,
yeah.
if he goes in to meet with Amy Adams Strunk and says, hey, I've loved it here, but my heart's in New England. I'm in the Hall of Fame there. I just think it's time for a fresh start for everybody. It's kind of hard to get the best going forward and to have the right atmosphere when you have a guy who really doesn't want to be there.
It's like the quarterback no trade clause, right? It's like, if the guy that's leading your team doesn't want to be here, then we don't want him, right? I mean,
he's still going to bust his ass. He's still going to try the best he can be. But I think it keeps you from being
your total best
special when you have a guy who really would rather not be there and has another opportunity. The question is, what's it going to take? What would they want from Robert Kraft to get Mike Vrabel? But hey, Robert Kraft gave up stuff to get Bill Belichick, and it worked out well 24 years ago. But that's another thing to keep an eye on. Hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis from Pro Football Talk.